Each job really depends on the lot that we're looking at. We actually go out to each job and hand measure to account for all the irrigation that's going to be installed, as well as the turf and any plant material that's going to be incorporated throughout the landscape. So actually each house that we do is actually a custom landscape to develop around the Keystone home. The most common sod that we install is Bermuda sod. Typically it's covered with 500 square foot per pallet. We also install large rolls of grass that's laid out by machine to be a little bit more efficient, and that per roll is 250 square foot. Typically a budget is assigned to Southern Landscape, and then we come out and measure the yard to ensure that the overall scheme of the project is going to fit within the budget guidelines. If not, we contact Keystone and a VPO is determined if accessible into the landscape, and we install all the product necessary in order to get a custom landscape finished. A VPO is a variance purchase order. So in other words, when that budget is outlined for the landscape project, if it's going to take any kind of additional budget requirements in order to get the landscape completed, Keystone will actually issue that VPO or that variance purchase order in order to make sure that the funds are acquired for the project to be completed. Typically we come out, and when we do our field measurements, we'll be able to account and give exact information to Keystone in regards to any kind of variance purchase order that's going to be required. So an outline budget is typically assessed via Keystone prior to us even arriving, or prior to even the home really beginning construction. However, sometimes a variance purchase order is still required on the larger lots, for instance like this corner lot that we're standing on now, to where a little bit more work may be needed to be done in order to get the landscape as efficient as possible. The most common sod variety that we install in Keystone Homes is Bermuda sod, due to its lower cost point. However, it's still a great product. It has a very quick germination rate, so we're not looking at having a seam-based sod throughout the entire landscape for several months. Typically you get full germination within 30 to 45 days, all depending on fertilization practices and watering. Southern actually has a landscape team, and each home actually has a custom landscape. We take a look at several different variables with the home, including the facade of the house, the color of the house, the roof lines, sun conditions, if it's mainly shade-based or sun-based, and we go from there in determining the right kind of plant material. Typically with new construction homes, especially with Keystone Homes, we actually come in and like to give a great ambiance to the front of the house since it's the first thing that's seen. So what we really like to do is give a great base of evergreen shrubs. That way it's very appealing throughout the year, even during the dormant months through November through February. A lot of the plant material that we install is going to be native-based plant material, such as hollies, tea olives. We'll actually touch base and switch it up a little bit and add some different color by incorporating like Laura petalum, or even come in with Kaleidoscope Abelia, something of those sorts, so it doesn't have a monotonous look across the front.